Now, speaking of someone who has stood by principles, I was very impressed this week with David Littleproud. I've called him all sorts of things in the past. I've changed that now to David Much to be proud of in the light of getting behind Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, Senator Price, this week. Terrific support there for her stance against The Voice. James, what did you make of the Nationals getting behind Jacinta Price there this week?
Look, I was there at the press conference in Canberra on the day when he came out with the entire Nationals group, except for one who was, I think Darren Chester was in New York on some business. But no, it was really quite something to see, and I think it lays down the gauntlet absolutely to Peter Dutton. And people have said, you talked about first principles a moment ago. Well, people said, oh, well, how can you, say you're against The Voice before you even know the details of it? And it's quite simply because you're starting from first principles, which is to say that bolting on some sort of race-based adjudicating body that's not accountable to Parliament but will only be managed by the High Court, i.e. is entirely A, undemocratic, and B, based on race and how long, your ancestors have been in this country, goes against everything that modern, small L, liberal, democratic Australia is all about. And so good on them. And I thought Jacinta Price was incredibly eloquent, but I'll make one final point. You've got 11 Indigenous Australians in the Parliament, right? They've got a range of opinions ranging from Jacinta Price on one end to Lydia Thorpe on the other, and what?
Both don't want The Voice.
And Linda Burney in the middle, and all of these other different things. And, that just proves that you cannot have one Indigenous voice. The first principle is that people do not, decide on their politics because of their DNA.
Well, yes, they finally came out, and from what we already know about The Voice, we know why it should be opposed vehemently, and that's what we've been saying on this program since, May. But again, where is Peter Dutton? We know enough about The Voice. We don't need to know the micro detail to know this is divisive. This is a race-based referendum. This undermines the principle of one man, one vote. It is going to just separate us. So why are the Liberals still holding back? Now that the Nationals have come out in unison, where is the Liberal Party? Where are their principles? Where are their values?
Well, this is where Peter Dutton really needs to stand up and show some actual leadership. Peter Dutton, you barely see him in the press. He seems to, he's been more hiding than Albanese, when it comes to press conferences and things like this. He needs to take the fight out there on this. This is a great way to show and buck up the Conservative troops, the base, so to speak, and to give people some cover on this issue, because otherwise, if he goes against John Howard's advice and gives people in the party a free vote, gives MPs a free vote,
that's the coward's route.
That's the coward's route, number one. But also, it means that people who are legitimately against The Voice will feel like they do not have cover, and they will be steamrolled by a corporate virtue signaling campaign. We saw this week that Albanese said, well, we're not going to fund the yes and the no camp. What he's relying on, and Jacinta Price has said this very eloquently, he is relying on all of his corporate mates to come in and swing behind it. Every company, every ASX 100 company has a reconciliation action plan. They will give money to the Yes campaign to tick that ESG box, and he won't have to spend a dime on it. And then people who legitimately say no are going to feel steamrolled, pressured by their employers, by everybody else. If you want to work, if you want to do this, you want to be in a polite company, you have to vote yes. That is undemocratic, and that is what Peter Dutton has to stand against.